Hello, Heights Church. It's Pastor Tim, and I get to share with you today about what I am thankful for. This whole idea of, as we're continuing our thread on gratitude. Well, I'm going to be honest, transparent right up front. I'm thankful that God is bigger than I think. He's bigger than I have ever thought him to be or ever felt him to be. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that God is greater than I ever thought him to be. Early on when I was a kid, I got saved between the 7th and 8th grade year. And so as a young kid, I didn't have a lot on my shoulders. It wasn't a lot of pressure. I didn't have a lot of stress in my life. My home life was great. My mom and dad, my brothers, it was great. It was a real healthy environment to grow up in. And so I didn't have a lot of weight. So I really didn't give much thought to how big God was compared to my life. But as I recommitted my life to Christ in my early 20s, you see, I had these things that I allow to have influence. I had the world and culture, the things I had gotten into and done, and decisions I had made, relationships that I had broken. There were just these things I was carrying. And a lot of things attached to that was guilt, and it was shame, and I just thought, man, there's just no way. My problems are too big, and they're too massive, and I've done too much damage for God to even care. It's just too big for that. And it was a pastor early on that said to me, as I was sharing that idea with him in my life, that my problems are just too big, and God can't use a guy like me. And here's what he said to me, and I want you to hear this today. Here's what he said to me. He said, Tim, the problem isn't that your sin or your stuff is so big. It's that your view of God is too small. And he began to unpack verse after verse, and I began to see that God is bigger than I could have ever thought. He's bigger than I think he is, and I'm thankful for that. That he is somehow greater than any struggle that I have walked through. He's greater than any emotion or situation that I find myself in, and I'm thankful for that. It reminds me of a verse in the book of Psalms, and it's one of the Psalms, and it's Psalm 139. And I just want to encourage you. I don't know where you're listening to this Devo. You may be driving, and it may not be the perfect time for this, but I want to encourage you that today you would spend time on these words in the first part of Psalm 139. Now, I encourage you to spend some time in the entire chapter of 139, but I want to share with you some of these verses in Psalm 139. It says this, and just listen to these words. O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it, Lord. You go before me and you follow me. You place your hand of blessing upon my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful and too great for me to understand. I love that verse 6. Because sometimes I'm going to doubt God. Sometimes I'm going to think my problems are greater and that He's not going to be even concerned about the things that are in my life, or nor maybe I've disqualified myself, or whatever it is. We allow culture, we allow things in our lives to tell us, especially it's the whispers of the enemy, will tell us God doesn't care, it's too big. It can't be right, it can't be real. His love can't be that great. But yet we can know that, look, this knowledge about who God is too wonderful for me. But it's ours. He gives it to us. Anybody else says it's too great even for me to understand. And I just want to encourage you that even if you don't understand it, it doesn't mean it's not true. God is bigger than you think. He cares deeper than you think. His love is greater than you can ever imagine. It continues on in verse 7. It says this, I can never escape from your spirit. Isn't that a great truth? I can never get away from your presence. Thank you, Jesus. If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I go down into the grave, you are there. If I ride the wings of the morning, and if I dwell in the farthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me, and your strength will support me. I could ask the darkness to hide me and the light around me to become night, but even in the darkness I cannot hide from you. See, to you the night shines as bright as day, and darkness and light are the same to you. And it continues on with all of this beautiful truth. So no matter how dark the day gets, God sees through it and will reach out to you. I am thankful that God is greater than I could ever think. So my hope and my prayer for you today is that you would settle on some of these words in Psalm 139, and it would just be a rich blessing to you. I am thankful for you, and I'm thankful for a God who's greater than I could ever think. Have a great day.